You are exhausted. Not the kind of tired that comes from a long day of physical labor, but a deep cellular fatigue that settles in your marrow. You are pushing against a wall that refuses to move. You are doing the work. You are waking up early. You are executing the strategy. You are visualizing the outcome. And yet your reality has flatlined. The emails aren't coming. The bank account is plateauing. The relationship has turned cold. It feels like you are walking through invisible mud, screaming in a soundproof room where no one can hear you. You look at your life, and you see zero movement. You interpret this silence as rejection. You interpret this stillness as failure. You are wrong. What you are experiencing is not failure. It is physics. You are currently standing in the middle of a winter wheat field. Look at it. The ground is hard as iron. The surface is covered in frost. There is no green. There is no fruit. To the untrained eye, this field is dead. It is a wasteland. But if you were to bury a sensor deep into the soil, down past the frost line, you would find something that defies logic. The metabolic activity in the root system is actually higher right now than it is in the middle of summer. The plant isn't dead. It is building pressure. This is called the phallostasis. In biology and quantum mechanics, maximum vertical growth requires a preceding state of maximum suspension. You are not stuck. You are not stagnant. You are undergoing Turgor pressure, the biological process of accumulating internal hydrostatic force required to break a seed coat. If you try to force the bloom right now, you will kill the harvest. But if you understand what is happening in the dark, you engage the quantum leap. You found this video because your timeline is shifting, but your eyes are deceiving you. The silence you hear is not emptiness. It is the sound of capacity loading. This is, if you found this, your quantum leap is about to shift. Let's look at the data. Consider the growth cycle of the Chinese bamboo tree. This is not a parable. This is a biological anomaly that explains exactly where you are. When a farmer plants this seed, nothing happens. For the first year, there is no sprout. The farmer waters it, fertilizes it, and protects it. The result? Zero visibility. The second year passes. Still nothing. The third year. The fourth year. To an outsider, the farmer is wasting resources on a patch of dirt. The input is massive, but the output is non-existent. But in the fifth year, something snaps. In a period of just 6 weeks, the bamboo tree shoots up 90 feet into the air. Now ask yourself the scientific question. Did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer lies in the root system. For 4 years, the tree was not waiting. It was aggressively building a subterranean infrastructure capable of sustaining a 90-foot vertical load. If it had shot up in year 1, before the roots were pressurized and expansive, the first wind would have snapped it in half. You are in year 4. You are looking for vertical evidence in a horizontal phase. You are looking for leaves when you should be measuring roots. This phase is known as biological quantum dormancy. It is the physics of potential energy accumulation before kinetic release. The reason you feel like nothing is happening is because all of the energy is being directed downward, into the foundation, into your character, into your nervous system's capacity to hold the voltage that is about to hit you. I know how painful this is. I know the specific texture of this anxiety. You have been silently carrying a fear that you have missed your window. You send the pitch, and there is no reply. You launch the project and the engagement is a ghost town. You do the meditation, the journaling, the gym routine, but you don't feel that electric spark you used to feel. It feels mechanical. It feels like you are a machine running on empty. This is the reality buffer. Think of it like streaming a 4K movie on a slow internet connection. The screen goes black. The little circle spins. You aren't seeing the movie, but the data is still downloading. The buffer is building the packet size so that when the movie plays, it plays without interruption. Your life isn't broken. It's buffering. The ghosted career and the flatline routine are not signs to stop. They are signs that your request for an upgrade was so massive that the universe needs to take the system offline to install the new operating system. But because you don't see the download bar, you panic. You start digging up the seeds to see if they are growing. You start forcing doors that are locked for your protection. You look at the frozen field of your life, the hard ground of your current circumstances, and you assume the frost is permanent. Let's reframe the metaphor. The frost on the surface is your current external result. It is rigid. It is cold. It does not move. But the roots underneath, that is your consciousness. That is your intent. The resistance you feel, that heavy, dense pressure in your chest, is not the weight of the world crushing you. It is the feeling of your own internal volume expanding against the container of your old life. You are moving from a state of panic about the void to a state of strategic dominance of the dormancy phase. Most people quit in the fallow. They walk away from the field right before the temperature shifts. They mistake the silence for a no. But you are going to learn to read the signs. You will stop feeling tired and start feeling pressurized. You will realize that the stuckness is actually a compression spring being wound tighter and tighter. The tighter the wind, the more violent the release. If you have felt this heavy silence and thought it was your fault, if you have been working in the underground phase with zero recognition, hit like to signal that you are still growing. You are not buried. You are planted. And the pressure you feel? That is just the physics of the breakthrough. Let us look at the physics of the impossible. If you hold a seed in your hand, it feels like a stone. It is hard. It is dry. It is dormant. If you place that seed under 3 inches of packed soil or even concrete, a miracle occurs that defies our intuitive understanding of force. A seedling is soft. It has no muscles. It has no leverage. It has no hydraulic machinery that we can see. So, how does a fragile, water-filled sprout generate enough force to fracture concrete? How does something so soft break something so hard? It does not do it by pushing. If a seed tried to hustle its way out of the soil, it would be crushed by the weight of the earth. It would die instantly. Biology has a different mechanism for breakthrough, and this is the exact mechanism governing your life right now. It is called imbibition. In botany, imbibition is the passive absorption of water by the seed coat. The seed sits in the dark. It sits in the cold. It does not move. To the naked eye, it is doing absolutely nothing. It is stagnating, but at the molecular level, it is drinking. It is pulling moisture from the environment into its cellular matrix. As it drinks, the water volume inside the seed increases, but the seed coat, the hard shell, does not expand yet. This creates an immense internal hydrostatic force known as Turgor pressure. Think of it like a water balloon being filled inside a steel box. The balloon keeps expanding, filling every microscopic gap, pressing harder and harder against the walls of the box. The pressure builds until it reaches a critical threshold, sometimes up to hundreds of atmospheres of pressure. The seed is not fighting the soil. It is pressurizing itself. It is gathering so much internal density that the shell has no choice but to fracture. The breakthrough is an explosion from the inside out, caused by the sheer capacity to hold energy. You are not stuck. You are in imbibition. You are interpreting the lack of external movement as failure. You look at your bank account, your career, your relationships, and you see a flat line. You see the hard soil above your head. You are pushing against it, scratching at it, trying to force a result with manic activity. But physics dictates that you cannot break the concrete by scratching it. You break it by expanding your internal volume until the reality around you creates a microfracture to accommodate your new size. The heaviness you feel right now, that isn't depression. That isn't a block. That is Turgor pressure. You are imbibing new data, new frequencies, and new paradigms. Your consciousness is drinking in the lessons of the silence. You feel like you are about to explode because you are about to explode. But if you panic and try to release the pressure prematurely, you bleed out the energy required for the breakout. You lose the harvest. This brings us to the core concept you need to integrate. We need to name this phase so you stop fearing it. This is the fallow stasis. In high-yield agriculture, a farmer will deliberately leave a field unplanted for a season. This is called lying fallow. To an outsider driving past the farm, the field looks abandoned. It looks like a waste of potential revenue. It looks like the farmer has given up. There is no wheat. There is no corn. There is just dirt and silence. But if you were to take a soil sample and analyze it under a microscope, you would see that the fallostasis is the most active biological phase of the entire year. The soil is not dead. It is regenerating. It is fixing nitrogen. It is breaking down old root structures. It is rebalancing the pH levels. It is metabolizing the nutrients that were depleted during the last harvest. If the farmer forced another crop during this window, the yield would be toxic and weak. The silence of the surface is the condition for the richness of the substrate. You are in the fallostasis. You are looking for the spiritual meaning of stagnation, hoping for a metaphysical reason why your life has stopped. But the answer is biological. You are not being punished by the universe. You are being regulated by nature. This state has 3 distinct characteristics that you need to recognize to stop the panic loop. First, surface silence. Your external metrics will flatline. The likes stop coming. The sales plateau. The phone stops ringing. This is the empty field. This is the visual of the winter frost. Second, subsurface metabolism. Your internal world becomes loud. Your dreams become vivid. Your emotions become volatile. You are processing years of trauma, old patterns, and outdated identity structures in weeks. The computer screen is black, but the fan is spinning at maximum speed because the system is rewriting its kernel. Third, pressure accumulation. This is the defining marker. True stagnation feels numb. It feels like apathy. The fallostasis feels tight. It feels like you are wearing a skin that is too small for you. You feel a desperate urgency to move but physically cannot. That tension is the Turgor Pressure building. It is the proof of life. The tragedy is that most high performers destroy their quantum leap exactly at this moment. You are addicted to the visual confirmation of progress. You have been conditioned to believe that if you are not moving forward, you are moving backward. This is the linear growth fallacy, and it is the primary reason you are exhausted. There are 2 ways you are likely diagnosing this failure right now, and both are wrong. The first diagnosis is forcing the season. This is the hustle culture trap. You feel the silence, you see the barren field, and you panic. You think, I must not be working hard enough. So you double your output. You send more emails. You post more content. You force conversations. You try to plant seeds in frozen ground. Think of the farmer. If he goes out in the middle of January with 2 feet of snow on the ground and starts tilling the soil, he doesn't demonstrate ambition. He demonstrates insanity. He destroys the soil structure. He kills the microbes. He wastes the seed. When you force action during the fallostasis, you are not accelerating results. You are damaging the root system. You are burning the very fuel you need for the coming spring. You are trying to harvest in winter, and then you hate yourself when your hands come back empty. Of course they are empty. It is January. The second diagnosis is digging up the seed. This is the anxiety of the spiritual seeker. You plant the intention. You do the visualization. You set the goal. Then 12 hours later, you look for the result. You see nothing, so you dig up the seed to check if it's growing. Is it working? Did I manifest it? Is the universe listening? When you dig up a seed to check its progress, you kill the germination process. You expose the delicate root hairs to light and air and they wither. Every time you frantically check your stats, every time you analyze your relationship for signs of forever, every time you ask, why isn't it here yet? You are digging up the seed. You are resetting the biological clock back to 0. The seed requires the dark. It requires the pressure of the unobserved. It needs you to trust the physics of the soil enough to walk away and let it imbibe. You have been silently carrying this guilt for months. You look at your peers and they seem to be in perpetual summer. They are launching, succeeding, moving. You feel like you have been left behind. You feel like the train has left the station and you are standing on the platform in the dark. But you are operating under an obsolete paradigm. You think growth is linear, a ladder that goes up and up forever. That is a mechanical view of the world. A machine can run linearly until it breaks. But you are not a machine. You are an organic, biological consciousness. Growth is not linear. It is cyclical. It is a spiral. It moves in seasons. Spring, initiation, summer, expression, autumn, integration, winter, dormancy. You are not stopping. You are cycling. You are not falling off the ladder. You are completing the circle to start the next rung of the spiral. The pause you are experiencing is not an error code. It is a system requirement. You are currently in the density of the winter phase. You are reloading. The arrow is being pulled back on the bowstring. The further back it is pulled, the more stuck and restricted you feel, the more potential energy is being stored in the tension. The distance you travel when the release comes is directly proportional to the tension you can endure right now without snapping. You are tired, deeply tired, nothing is moving. You push, but the wall doesn't budge. This isn't failure, it's physics. The wall isn't moving because you aren't supposed to knock it down. You are supposed to become so dense, so pressurized, so filled with your own potential, that the wall crumbles simply because it cannot contain your volume. Stop trying to force the bloom. The flower does not force itself open with effort. It drinks water until it bursts open with inevitability. Your job right now is not to push. Your job is to imbibe. Drink the silence. Hold the pressure. Let the turgor build. The fracture is coming, and when it breaks, it will not be a step forward. It will be a quantum leap. We have arrived at the fulcrum of your reality. This is where we strip away the social conditioning that has kept you exhausted and feeling like a failure. We need to perform a surgical removal of a specific lie you have been fed since birth. The lie is that silence is empty. The lie is that lack of external motion equals death. You look at your life right now, and you see a void. You see a calendar that isn't filling up. You see an inbox that is stagnant. You interpret this lack of kinetic movement as a lack of progress. You think you have stalled. You are judging your life by the physics of a car running out of gas. You think you have rolled to a stop. That is Newtonian physics. It is linear. It is outdated. We are dealing with quantum mechanics and biological imperatives. You are not a car running out of gas. You are an arrow being pulled back on a bowstring. Think of the mechanics of archery. When you want to send an arrow flying at maximum velocity, what is the very first thing you do? You pull it backward. You stop all forward motion. You actively retreat. To the naked eye, to the uneducated observer, it looks like you are moving away from your target. It looks like regression. But in the laws of physics, this is not regression. This is the accumulation of potential energy. There is a formula in physics. Potential energy equals mass times gravity times height, or in the case of a spring or a bow, it is determined by the tension coefficient. The further back you pull the string, the more energy is stored in the system. The tension you feel right now, that screaming anxiety in your chest that feels like you are going to explode, that is not panic. That is potential energy. That is the bowstring vibrating under the load. You have been misinterpreting the data. You feel stuck. You feel held back. You feel like an invisible hand is pressing against your chest, stopping you from running forward. That is not an enemy. That is the archer. You are being drawn back. The reason you cannot move forward right now, no matter how hard you hustle, no matter how many emails you send, is because the tension is building. If you were to let go now, the arrow would fall 3 feet in front of you. It would be a weak launch. The universe, or your higher biology, is holding you in the tension because it intends for you to fly a massive distance. The depth of the pullback determines the length of the shot. You must understand this shift. Your lack of momentum is actually potential energy accumulation. You are not doing nothing. You are holding everything. This changes the entire architecture of how you exist in this phase. If you believe you are stuck, you will thrash. You will waste energy trying to wiggle free. You will try to force the arrow forward while the string is being pulled back. That creates friction. That snaps the string. That is what you call burnout. But if you understand that you are in the draw phase and your job changes, you stop struggling, you settle into the pocket of the bow, you align your spine, you focus on the target, you let the tension build without letting it break you. This leads us to the cascading implications of this truth. If this is a period of compression and not stagnation, then the rules of engagement have changed. First, it means you do not need to do more. You need to hold more. This is a crucial distinction. Our culture rewards kinetic output. It rewards the blur of activity. But in the fallostasis, in the draw phase, activity is a leak. If you are vibrating with anxiety and trying to manufacture busy work to feel valuable, you are leaking the potential energy that is meant for the launch. You are fraying the bowstring. The command now is structural integrity. Can you hold the tension of the unknown? Can you sit in the silence without reaching for your phone to distract yourself? The capacity to hold the charge is what determines the magnitude of the quantum leap. You have been silently carrying a specific type of exhaustion. It isn't physical tired. It is a soul-deep heaviness. You feel it when you wake up. It feels like gravity has doubled. This is because your internal container is being stretched. You are essentially a pressurized vessel. When you pump air into a tire, the tire gets hard. It gets tense. It pushes back. That is you right now. The anxiety you feel is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that your capacity is increasing. You are being pressurized to hold a level of success, a level of light, a level of reality that would have crushed the previous version of you. This pressure has a secondary effect that you have likely noticed, and it has probably caused you deep grief. As the pressure builds, weak structures fracture. You have noticed a specific relationship turn cold overnight. You have noticed friends you have had for years suddenly drift away, or perhaps there was a sudden, sharp conflict that ended things. You are confused because you didn't change. You didn't become a bad person. Here is the physics of it. They are not rejecting you. They are being pruned. They are not structurally sound enough to survive the winter you are in, or they are not aerodynamic enough for the trajectory you are about to take. When the arrow flies, it must be streamlined. Anything that creates drag must be removed. The fallow season is a ruthlessly efficient editor. It looks at your life and asks, can this person handle the velocity we are moving toward? If the answer is no, the bond breaks. It isn't personal, it is ballistics. You are shedding drag coefficients. This brings us to the methodological shift. You must move from the identity of the frantic hustler to the quantum cultivator. The hustler is terrified of the void. The hustler thinks that if they stop paddling, they will drown. So they paddle in circles, creating foam, creating noise, exhausting themselves, and staying in the exact same coordinates. You have done this. You have spent weeks being incredibly busy and accomplishing absolutely nothing. That is the hustler dying. The quantum cultivator understands the seasons of the soil. The cultivator knows that the seed does not grow because you scream at it. The seed grows because you maintain the conditions of the soil. In this phase, your work is not external. It is internal maintenance. This requires a new level of discipline. It is actually harder than hustling. It is easy to be busy. It is a distraction. It is incredibly difficult to be still. It requires you to confront the silence. It requires you to look at your bank account, look at your career, look at the stillness, and not panic. It requires you to trust the biology of the process over the anxiety of your ego. You must pivot your strategy from manic activity to strategic rest. Rest is no longer a luxury you earn after you burn out. Rest is the primary work. Think of an athlete before the Olympics. In the taper phase, they do not run marathons. They sleep. They eat high-density nutrition. They visualize. They are conserving every ounce of glycogen, every spark of neural drive for the event. You are in the taper phase. Stop apologizing for the nap. Stop feeling guilty for the Saturday spent staring at the ceiling. That is not laziness. That is you charging the battery to 100% because you know the call is coming. You cannot answer the call of your destiny if your battery is at 4%. The doing is done. The being is the work. From this moment forward, when you feel the wall, when you feel the resistance, you do not push against it. You lean into it. You recognize that the wall is the back of the bow. You are being pulled against it to maximize the tension. The heavier it feels, the more powerful the release will be. You are no longer a victim of the void. You are not lost in the dark. You are a seed in the soil. It is supposed to be dark. It is supposed to be heavy. That is where the magic happens. You are switching your fuel source. You are moving from burning adrenaline which is cheap, dirty fuel that leaves you crashing, to burning turgor, the internal hydrostatic pressure of purpose. This is the great revelation. Stasis is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of power. The silence is not empty, it is pregnant. It is gathering, it is compressing. And if you can hold your nerve, if you can stay in the pocket of the bow without snapping, the release will not just move you forward, it will transport you to a completely different timeline. You are not waiting. You are loading. You doubt this. Of course you do. Your mind is a pattern recognition machine, and for your entire life, the pattern has been simple. Input equals output. You do the work, you get the result. You shout, the world echoes back. But now, the machine is broken. You are pouring high-octane fuel into the engine, meditating, visualizing, executing strategy, refining your craft, and the dashboard reads 0. The needle isn't moving. Your logic brain screams that this is failure. It tells you that the strategy is flawed, or worse, that you are flawed. Stop listening to that voice. It is reading the surface data, and surface data during a fallow stasis is always a lie. We need to look at the biometrics of the underground. If you are truly in a quantum dormancy, if you are truly about to fracture the seed coat and erupt into a new timeline, your reality will not show you success. It will show you 3 specific undeniable markers of high-pressure incubation. These are not comfortable signs. They are terrifying. But they are the biological prerequisites for a vertical leap. Let's validate your reality. Sign number 1. The heavy silence. You have likely experienced a sudden, inexplicable drop in external feedback. I am not talking about a slow decline. I am talking about a blackout. It feels like the world has gone mute. You check your phone, no new messages. You post content, the algorithm buries it. You reach out to old contacts, they don't respond, or the conversations die instantly. You apply for roles you are overqualified for. Ghosted. It feels like you are screaming in a soundproof room. You are shouting at the top of your lungs, but the sound waves are dying before they hit the wall. You feel invisible. The spiritual ego wants to interpret this as the dark night of the soul, or a punishment for bad vibration. That is incorrect. Biologically, this is an incubation chamber. Think of a laboratory clean room. When a scientist is engineering a delicate, high-stakes organism, they do not do it in the middle of a busy street. They seal the room, they airlock the doors, they filter out the noise, the contaminants and the variables. The universe has isolated you not to punish you but to conserve you. In physics, interaction costs energy. Every email you answer, every chaotic drama you engage in, every validation loop you chase, leaks kinetic energy. Right now, your system is attempting a metamorphic shift that requires 100% of your available metabolic power. You cannot afford to leak energy into noise. So your reality has created a vacuum seal. The silence is not an absence of interest. It is the presence of protection. It is the soil packing tight around the seed so that the internal chemistry can cook without interference. If you try to break this silence by forcing noise, by frantically texting, double posting, or manufacturing drama just to feel seen, you puncture the seal. You let the contaminants in, let the silence be heavy. The heavier the silence, the more intense the internal work. You are not being ignored. You are being insulated. Sign number 2, the ghost pressure. This is the most physical, visceral sign, and it is the one that sends most people to the doctor or the therapist. You feel a constant, humming tension in your body. It sits in the solar plexus or behind the ribs. It feels like anxiety, but it lacks a trigger. You aren't worried about a specific bill or a specific person. You just feel pressurized. It feels like you need to run a sprint or scream or punch a wall, but you are just sitting at your desk. It is a vibrating, kinetic restlessness. It keeps you up at night, it makes your skin crawl. You interpret this as something is wrong. You think, I must be off my path because I feel so anxious. No, you are experiencing Turgor pressure. Let's go back to the seed. Inside the seed coat, the embryo is imbibing water. It is drinking and drinking. The volume of the liquid inside the cell is increasing, but the wall of the cell has not yet cracked. This creates immense hydrostatic pressure. The inside is pushing against the outside with force. If there were no pressure, there would be no breakout. The pressure is the only thing strong enough to fracture the hard shell of your current reality. This sensation is often listed as one of the primary quantum leap symptoms. It is the energetic body expanding faster than the physical container. Your consciousness has already leveled up. Your vision is already there. Your energy is massive. But your 3D circumstances, your bank account, your job, your living situation, are still the old small container. You are fitting a gallon of water into a pint-sized glass. The glass is shaking. That shaking is not fear. It is capacity. Most people try to medicate this pressure away. They drink, they scroll, they distract, they try to calm down. Do not calm down. The seed does not try to calm down before it breaks the soil. It intensifies. This ghost pressure is proof that your internal volume has exceeded your external limitations. You are not crazy. You are just bigger than your life currently allows. The only way to relieve the pressure is to break the shell, and the break is coming. Sign number 3. The taste of ash. This is the sign that creates the most guilt. Suddenly, things you used to love feel dead. You used to love that specific podcast. Now his voice grates on your nerves. You used to love going to that specific coffee shop. Now the vibe feels stale and heavy. You used to be passionate about a specific project or hobby. Now looking at it feels like chewing on dry cardboard. Foods lose their flavor. Conversations with your best friends feel circular and draining. You look at your daily routine, the same routine that used to make you feel disciplined, and you feel a deep gray boredom. It tastes like ash. You worry that you are becoming depressed. You worry that you are ungrateful. You think, I should be happy with this. Why am I so checked out? This is not depression. This is resource reallocation. Look at the tree in autumn. Before the winter, the tree pulls the chlorophyll and nutrients out of the leaves. It withdraws its life force from the extremities and pulls it all into the root system. Why? Because the leaves are about to die. It would be biological suicide to leave valuable energy in a structure that is about to be shed. Your biology is smarter than your ego. It knows that your current interests, your current social circles, and your current hustles are part of the old season. They are the leaves. The phallostasis demands that all energy be moved to the core, to the new identity that is forming underground. So your system withdraws the charge from those external things. It pulls the plug. Suddenly the things that used to light you up have no power. This is painful because it feels like a loss of self. Who am I if I don't love this anymore? You are the root system. Do not try to force yourself to love the ash. Do not try to fake enthusiasm for things that are clearly dead. That is wasted metabolism. If it tastes like ash, spit it out. Let the boredom exist. Boredom is just the space left behind when the energy moves elsewhere. This is the pattern. The silence protects you. The pressure powers you. The ash redirects you. If you have all three, you are not failing. You are in the late stages of Turgor. The fracture is imminent. I need you to look at your life right now. I need you to identify the thing that has gone dead. Which part of your reality, a relationship, a job task, a hobby, a habit, has suddenly turned to ash in your mouth? Don't judge it. Just acknowledge the biology of it. Tell me in the comments below. Right. I am in the fallow and blank has lost its flavor. Name the dead leaf so you can stop feeding it. We are done with the theory. Theory does not break soil. Physics does. You have analyzed your stagnation enough. You have dissected the silence until your mind is raw. Now we enter the laboratory of the body. We are going to induce the state of phallostasis manually. We are going to replicate the biology of the dormant seed so your nervous system understands that this pressure is not a threat. It is fuel. Put your phone down. Do not look at the screen. If you are driving, pull over. This requires your entire metabolic focus. Close your eyes. Drop your shoulders. Not because you are relaxing, but because you are getting heavy. We are shifting from the frequency of flight, which is light, frantic, and upward, to the frequency of dormancy, which is dense, magnetic, and downward. Stop trying to escape your body. Sink into it. Phase 1. The rooting. Shift your attention to your hips and your legs. In this moment, they are not flesh and bone. They are lignified root systems. I want you to feel the gravity pulling you down. You are not floating. You are sinking. You are heavy. You are made of lead. Visualize the floor beneath you dissolving. Beneath it is the dark, cold, compressed earth. It is winter underground. It is black. It is silent. And it is safe. Imagine your legs drilling into that darkness. Push your energy down, deeper, past the crust, past the noise of the surface world, into the deep geology of your own being. You have been trying to grow up towards the light, towards the likes, towards the validation. Stop. Go down. Feel the friction of the soil. It is tight. It is holding you. You are not stuck. You are anchored. There is a specific calm here. It is the calm of the grave, which is identical to the calm of the womb. Feel the safety of the dark. You do not need to perform here. You just need to exist. Phase 2. Imbibition. Now we activate the intake. In biology, a dry seed does not grow. It must undergo imbibition. It must drink the moisture of the soil until it swells. Notice the silence in the room right now. Notice the stillness you have been fighting. That silence is not empty space. It is nutrient-dense liquid energy. It is water. With your next inhale, do not just breathe air. I want you to imagine you are drinking the silence. Pull it in through your nose. Pull it down into your solar plexus. Inhale. Drink the dark. Hold it. Now, do not exhale the energy. Only exhale the waste carbon. Keep the weight inside. Inhale again. Deeper. Pull the silence into your chest. It is heavy. It feels thick. You have been starving because you have been trying to push energy out, trying to manifest, trying to post, trying to convince. Reversal. Pull it in. Become a vacuum. Drink the void. Feel your center getting denser. You are becoming a black hole of potential. Nothing leaves. Everything enters. You are gathering mass. Phase 3. Turgor pressurization. This is the critical threshold. Keep breathing. Keep drinking the silence. But now feel the container. Focus on the sensation in your chest, your stomach, your ribs. You might feel a tightness, a discomfort, a need to move or scream. You have been interpreting this feeling as anxiety. You have been calling it a panic attack. Reframe. This is Turgor pressure. This is the hydrostatic pressure building inside the cell walls. This is the physics of expansion meeting the resistance of the container. I want you to intensify it. Don't run from the tightness. Lean into it. Inhale. Pack the air into your lungs until they press against your ribs. Hold it. Feel the stretch. Your skin feels too tight for your soul. Good. That is the feeling of capacity increasing. You are a seed that has absorbed so much power that the old shell can no longer contain it. You are trembling. That is not fear. That is kinetic energy vibration. You are a loaded weapon. You are the arrow pulled all the way back on the string. The tension you feel is the measure of how far you are about to fly. Hold the pressure. Do not release. Let it become uncomfortable. Growth is violence. The seed does not gently ask the soil to move. It exerts 150 pounds per square inch of pressure to fracture the earth. Be the pressure. You are not broken. You are just full. You are dangerously full. Phase 4. The microfracture. Keep that pressure locked in your core. Now visualize the shell. Visualize the stuckness, the lack of money, the silence from the world. The old version of you that is small and scared. See it as a hard gray casing around your body. It is the seed coat. It has protected you. But now it is a prison. You are pressing against it from the inside. The Turgor pressure is critical. In your mind's eye, see a tiny fissure form on the chest plate of that shell. A microfracture. It creates a sound. A sharp crack. You did not break it with a hammer from the outside. You broke it with your volume from the inside. Take one massive inhale. Fill the container to the maximum. Now, exhale sharply. Release. Visualize the shell shattering. Not falling away gently, but exploding outward. Debris flying. The barrier is gone. Return to your normal breathing. Keep your eyes closed for 10 more seconds. Scan your body. Do you feel that hum? That subtle vibration in your hands and feet? That is the aftermath of the shift. You are no longer dormant. You have fractured the dormancy. You are not empty. You are not waiting. You are in the active state of emergence. Open your eyes. Look at the room. It looks the same. But you are different. You are heavier. You are grounded. The anxiety is gone, replaced by a cold, quiet power. You have successfully simulated the phallostasis. You now know what the pressure is for. Never mistake this feeling for failure again. This is the feeling of the harvest loading. You have felt the pressure. You have sat in the dark. You have acknowledged that the silence is not empty but heavy with potential. Now we must operationalize this. We must turn this biological reality into a tactical protocol. Because here is the danger. If you understand the concept of phallostasis intellectually, but you continue to act like a frantic summer harvester, you will cause root necrosis. You will rot the very potential you are trying to build. You need to shift your identity. You are no longer the hustler. The hustler is a linear creature who believes that more sweat equals more grain. That is false physics. You are now the cultivator. The cultivator understands that yield is a function of timing, not just effort. To survive this winter season and convert this pressure into a quantum leap, you need a new set of tools. You need to measure different things. You need to act in a different way. This brings us to tool number 1, the root audit. The primary reason you feel like you are failing right now is because you are staring at the wrong data points. You are obsessed with surface metrics. You are checking your bank account. You are checking your views. You are checking your DMs. You are looking for validation from the external world. But remember the winter wheat. If a farmer walked out into his field in January and judged his success by the height of the green shoots, he would declare bankruptcy. The field looks dead. The surface metrics are 0. If you judge your life by external output during a fallow season, you will induce panic. Panic releases cortisol. Cortisol kills the delicate root hairs that are currently forming in the dark. You are literally stress testing your own expansion to death. You need to perform a root audit. For the next 7 days, you are going to ignore the leaves. Let them turn brown. Let them fall. That is natural. Instead, you are going to measure root health. These are the leading indicators of the harvest. What does root health look like in a human? It looks like internal integrity. First, measure your clarity. Not your motivation. Motivation is a surface emotion. Clarity is deep. Do you know, with terrifying precision, what you do not want anymore? That is root growth. Second, measure your sleep architecture. When you are in phallostasis, your body demands deep coma-like restoration. Are you sleeping heavier? Are you dreaming vividly? This is not laziness. This is high-speed neural remapping. If you are sleeping 10 hours and waking up tired, that is a metric of success. It means your internal engine is burning fuel to rebuild the chassis. Third, measure your emotional resilience. This is the big one. In the past, a rejection would shatter you. Now in the fallow, you might notice a strange numbness or a cold detachment. You don't care as much. That isn't depression. That is bark thickening. You are becoming impervious to the elements. Stop looking at the scoreboard. The game isn't happening on the field right now. It is happening in the locker room. If you keep running onto the empty field screaming for the ball, you look insane. Check the roots. If the clarity is high and the tolerance for bullshit is low, you are winning. This leads into tool number 2, the active dormancy protocol. There is a massive misconception in the spiritual community about resting. People think resting means doing nothing. They think it means lying in bed, scrolling on their phone, eating processed sugar, and dissociation. That is not dormancy. That is decay. In biology, dormancy is an active metabolic state. The seed is not dead. It is busy. It is hardening its shell and organizing its proteins. We need to distinguish between rotting and resting. Rotting is passive consumption of low-frequency noise. It is watching 6 hours of mindless content because you are afraid of your own thoughts. It is fake work. You know what fake work is. It's checking your email for the 50th time today. It's tweaking the font on your website. It's organizing your desktop files. You are doing these things because the stillness terrifies you. You are trying to simulate motion because you don't trust the stasis. Stop disturbing the soil. Every time you engage in fake work, you are digging up the seed to check if it has germinated. You are exposing the roots to the cold air. You need to switch to active dormancy. This requires discipline. It is harder to sit still than it is to run. Step 1. Schedule fallow blocks. These are periods of time, perhaps 4 hours a day, where you are forbidden from output. No writing, no posting, no pitching, no helping others. Step 2. Initiate nutrient loading. A seed imbibes water before it bursts. You must imbibe high-density information. Read books that are way above your current comprehension level. Listen to lectures on physics, theology, or history. Walk in nature without headphones. Eat food that was alive yesterday. You are filling the reserves. You are loading the bowstring. If you spend this season consuming garbage, your quantum leap will be a stumble. Garbage in, garbage out. The quality of your next chapter depends entirely on the quality of the nutrients you absorb right now. If you are bored, good. Boredom is the substrate of creativity. Let the boredom crush you until it turns into a diamond. Now, as you do this, as you ignore the external metrics and load the system with nutrients, you will encounter a physical problem. The pressure will spike. This is the Turgor pressure we discussed. It will feel like anxiety. It will feel like you are about to explode. You need tool number 3, the pressure valve. Most people misinterpret this pressure. They feel the energy building up in their chest, the ghost pressure, and they think, I need to fix this. I need to make a move. I need to text my ex. I need to launch a product. No, that is a leak. If you use that energy now, you lose the turgor. You lose the force required to break the seed coat. You must contain the pressure, but you must not let it destroy the container. You need a controlled release valve. Think of a pressure cooker. It has a small valve on top that hisses. It lets out just enough steam to keep the pot from blowing up the kitchen, but keeps enough heat inside to cook the meat. You need a somatic practice that matches the intensity of your internal state. Meditation might not be enough right now. If you sit in silence while your cells are screaming, you might just spiral. You need high-intensity discharge. Sprint until your lungs burn. Get into a cold plunge and fight the urge to gasp. Scream into a pillow until your throat is raw. Lift heavy weights that force you to focus on survival. You are not doing this to get fit. You are doing this to regulate the turgor. You are showing your body that it can handle high-voltage energy without dying. You are expanding your nervous system's capacity to hold the charge. When you feel the panic rising, do not analyze it. Do not journal about it. Move it. Burn off the excess steam so you can go back to holding the core pressure. This is how you survive the incubation without cracking the shell prematurely. This brings us to the integration framework. You need a timeline. The human mind hates infinity. It cannot handle wait until it happens. It needs a container. I want you to commit to the 90-day season. Biology operates in quarters. Seasons are 3 months long. For the next 90 days you are in winter. You are in the fallow. I want you to sign a contract with yourself. For 90 days you do not expect a harvest. You surrender the need for an outcome. If you plant a seed and yell at it on day 2, you are insane. If you plant a seed and wait 90 days, you are a strategist. This is the only way to solve the riddle of how to trust the process. You cannot trust the process if you are judging the winter by the rules of the summer. You trust the process by accepting the season. Tell yourself, I am not stuck. I am incubating. My lack of external movement is evidence of my internal density. Walk through your life this week with this secret knowledge. When people ask you, what's new? What are you up to? And you have nothing to show them, do not feel shame. Look at them with the calm eyes of a farmer who knows exactly what is happening under the snow. Tell them, I am in a building phase. They won't understand. They will look at your barren field and think you are finished. Let them. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you have fallen off. The silence is your camouflage. While they are running around burning out their engines on surface-level hustles, you are underground, tapping into the water table, building a root system so thick and so deep that when you finally do break the surface, you won't just grow, you will erupt. You are mastering the art of the fallow. You are learning to hold the tension of the void. And this capacity, this ability to sit in the dark and not flinch, is the exact same muscle you will need to hold the massive success that is coming. If you cannot hold the silence of the winter, you will not be able to hold the voltage of the spring. Prepare the vessel. The pressure is a gift. You have calibrated your perception. You are no longer looking at the frozen ground and seeing death. You are seeing capacity. You are no longer interpreting the silence of your phone or the stillness of your bank account as a rejection from the universe. You now recognize it for what it is. It is the heavy, dense, suffocating, necessary pressure of the phallostasis. You have stopped trying to pry open the seed with your fingernails to see if it is working. You have stopped digging up the roots to check for growth. You have accepted the biological reality that maximum output requires a phase of maximum suspension. You are not a victim of the void. You are the architect of the compression, but you must understand one final thing before you walk back into your winter. The seed coat does not hold forever. The physics of Turgor pressure guarantees a rupture. You have spent this entire time worrying that the silence will last forever, that you will be stuck in this invisible room for the rest of your life. That is the anxiety of the amateur. The master knows something different. The master knows that the container is finite, but the energy you are imbibing is infinite. Eventually, the hydrostatic pressure inside your reality will exceed the structural integrity of your current limitations. And when that happens, the shell does not just open, it shatters. This is the event horizon you have been begging for, but you are likely unprepared for the violence of the birth. Biology is not gentle. A chick breaking an egg is a struggle for survival. A sprout breaking the soil is a tectonic shift on a microscale. When your fallow season ends, it does not fade away. It snaps. The potential energy you have been storing, that heavy, dark, frustrating tension you feel in your chest right now, instantly converts into kinetic energy. This is the law of conservation of energy. Nothing is lost. Every moment you spent waiting, every tear you swallowed, every silent scream in the middle of the night was not wasted. It was stored. It was being compressed into the spring. Think of a bow and arrow. For the last few months or perhaps the last few years, life has been pulling you back. It has felt like a regression. It has felt like you are moving further and further away from your target. You watch others fly past you, hitting their marks while you are being dragged backward into the tension. You have complained about the drag. You have cried about the distance. But you forgot to look at the bow. The further back you are pulled, the more kinetic potential is loading into your spine. You are not retreating. You are accumulating velocity. The danger is no longer stagnation. The danger is the release. When the finger slips off the string, the acceleration is instantaneous. This is what we call the quantum leap. It is not a step up a ladder, it is a phase change, like water flashing into steam. The volume expands 1,000 times over in a fraction of a second. This brings a new set of problems. You are currently built for endurance. You are built for holding heavy weights in the dark. You have become incredibly strong at doing nothing and surviving. But are you aerodynamic? When the call finally comes, and it will come, usually on a random Tuesday when you have finally given up on checking for it, it will not be a trickle. It will be a tsunami. The opportunities will not knock. They will batter down the door. The energy will not flow. It will rush. If you have not prepared your nervous system for high-velocity processing, this sudden success will not feel like a blessing. It will feel like chaos. It will feel like a nervous breakdown. We see this all the time in biology. If a stem grows too fast without the fibrous structure to support the weight, it collapses under its own abundance. This is called lodging in agriculture. The crop is so heavy with grain that it snaps the stalk and rots on the ground. You have built the pressure. You have honored the dormancy. You have engaged the fallostasis. Now, we must prepare you for the trajectory. Turgor pressure without a vector is just an explosion. It is a bomb. Turgor pressure with a vector is a breakthrough. It is a rocket. You need to know how to steer the momentum once it leaves the silo. You need to know how to metabolize the speed so that you do not burn up in the atmosphere of your own ascension. This is the transition from the winter of incubation to the spring of acceleration. This is the vernal acceleration. The rules of the void no longer apply here. In the void you learn to be still. In the acceleration you must learn to be precise. You will need to make decisions in seconds that used to take you months. You will need to filter opportunities with a ruthlessness you have not yet developed. You will need to hold the frequency of success without letting it destabilize your root system. The bloom is coming. The harvest is already written in the DNA of the seed you are pressurizing right now. The variable is not if it happens. The variable is how you handle the magnitude. You have built the pressure. Next, we aim it. Subscribe so you don't miss the harvest. Subscribe to catch the launch. The next transmission will decode the physics of this momentum. We will cover why your sudden success will feel like chaos, and I will hand you the navigation tools for the quantum leap. Do not fear the winter. It is the only way to the spring. Let the roots go deep. Let the silence be heavy. Let the darkness be absolute. Do not turn on the artificial lights to make yourself feel better. Sit in the dark and feel the hum of the machine coming online. Your time is not running out, it is gathering. The silence is not empty, it is pregnant. You are not buried, you are planted. Trust the pressure, trust the break. And when the shell cracks, do not look away.